I'm Megan Kearney, creator of Corpse de Ballet, and this is the True North Country Comics podcast.
Welcome to the True North Country Comics podcast, originating in Canada and celebrating comic book and graphic novel creators and supporters. I'm John Swinimer. On this episode, I chat with Megan Kearney about her new book, Corpse de Ballet, a graphic novel, published by First Second. Based in Toronto, Ontario, Megan Kearney is a cartoonist with a background in animation. She works as a writer, illustrator, and educator, and can be found teaching at the local college or jetting around town on her absolutely ridiculous e-scooter. Her most recent title, Swan Lake, Quest for the Kingdoms, released from Harpercollins, was a Kirkus Starred review in 2022. Her newest book, winner of the JLG Gold Standard Selection Award, Corpse de Ballet, is published by First Second. The story of Corpse de Ballet, a graphic novel, goes like this. Arriving at Saint Anselmus in the middle of the year, Rosamund Hammond is ready to practice hard and prove she deserves to be there. But something at this boarding school doesn't feel right. It turns out that just before Rosamund enrolled, a student disappeared without telling anyone. Was it really a leave of absence or something more sinister? Together with her new roommate, Rosamund spirals deeper and deeper into an obsession with the truth. As the school prepares for its showcase performance of Coppélia, can she commit to her hard-earned ballet dreams while solving the mystery that's haunting her? Or will she lose herself in the process? So, without further ado, here's my chat with Megan Kearney about her new book, Corpse de Ballet, a graphic novel, published by First Second. So, Megan Kearney, thank you very much for taking time to chat with me. It's been a while since we've chatted. I know that we've had a few discussions on and off, but nothing like a real sit-down, knock-em-out type of interview. So thank you for your time for this. Before we go on all the questions, though, I would like to know, what was the first comic book that you read?
I think the first comic book I ever read was probably a compilation of Calvin and Hobbes strips. I remember finding it on the bottom shelf in my dad's office. I was about 6 years old and I was in there because we had company. So I was sleeping on the floor in the office and they left comic books where I could find them. I'm sure they regret it to this day.
Well, that's a good one growing up for sure. But I'm wondering, who or what inspires you to create today?
Oh, gosh, that's a great question. Obviously, I have a lot of manga influence, and I'm very, very interested in the things that are being done in Japanese manga. I would say Takahashi is always a huge influence. She's just been so successful in everything she's put her hands to. Recently, I have really enjoyed Hanako-kun by Ida Iro. Really wonderfully done. I've really been enjoying picking up zines and short works from a lot of North American creators at shows. And so that's been fun for me to see what people are doing with the format.
Nice. And speaking of picking up Canadian books, I understand you were at Toronto Comic Arts Festival, and I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to chat with you there, but I want to get your feelings and thoughts about that event. How was it for you?
This was probably one of my favorite TCAFs that I can remember. It was just a really good, friendly, happy, social year. I like the new venue. I think it's been working really well for the size TCAF has become. Like, we all miss the library, but it was very close quarters in there, and I'm finding the Mattamy Center, it's letting everything breathe a bit. But I had a great year. I did a lot of socializing. I did a presentation at Carousel. First Second was kind enough to get me some advanced copies of Corpse de Ballet, so I was able to have that represented at the show. It just wound up being an absolute blast.
Glad to hear. Yeah. For me, it's sort of like Old Home Week because I get to meet up with people I've known for many years and also get introduced to new people all the time. So that's always a great thing for sure.
That's exactly it. It's kind of like some kind of class reunion.
Yeah. So we're here talking today about your brand new book, Corpse de Ballet, a graphic novel. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about it. What is the story all about?
Oh, Corpse de Ballet. It's the story of a student, Rosamund, who joins a prestigious ballet academy mid-year. She gets really enmeshed in her roommate Eugenie's fixation with what happened to the previous student who was there before Rosamund was accepted. They become very convinced that this disappearance was unnatural, that there's something going on at the school. And all the while, Rosamund is feeling pressured to perform and to be better and becoming very ambitious. And her sense of reality is becoming more and more detached.
Oh my, sounds very suspenseful.
Yeah, I would say it probably falls under like a psychological thriller or a suspense category.
Well, that would be my next question then. So, who is the audience for your book? I presume that because it's a young girl into ballet, I presume that you're aiming at that type of audience?
So I'd say it's YA, probably older teen, probably that sort of 14 and up window.
Well, what was the inspiration for the story? Were you a ballerina, let's say, or a dancer and wanted to do this at some point?
No, actually, I'm extremely clumsy and I can't follow choreography to save my life. But I've always been an artist and I've always enjoyed drawing. And so much of what I love about drawing is looking at the way the body moves. And this is sort of my way of appreciating ballet, because I certainly can't dance it, is to draw it, to understand those motions and break them down artistically and look at what's actually happening there.
Did you have to do any special research for the book based on the fact that the focus and the subject is ballet?
I did so much research. This might be my most research heavy book. I was actually very lucky with this. I got an Ontario Arts Council grant to work on it. And so I was able to afford to go to the ballet with some regularity. And so, yeah, Toronto has the National Ballet of Canada. It's world class. It's wonderful. And I was able to go and see some shows, but also some competitions. And that was really valuable to me, to see different dancers doing the same pieces and where that varied, like how they handled different leaps, how they handled choreography. It was really valuable to see the same piece performed by different performers.
Did you get a chance to interview any of these ballet stars to get sort of insight into their mindset of what they're going through?
So not in Toronto, but I did have a couple of dancers who basically fact-checked the book for me. One with the San Francisco Ballet, another a costume designer. And both of them gave me very useful information on making sure things were factually correct and depicted right. But the story was very much a different thing than they were used to or interested in. And so the narrative is very much my own, but I made sure that I had expert eyes on it, so I wasn't misrepresenting anything.
Well, I want to congratulate you on the book receiving the Junior Library Guild Selection Award. I want to ask you, what does that mean to you?
Yes. So Corpse de Ballet is a Junior Library Guild Gold Standard selection. And that was completely unexpected for me. That wasn't something that was really on my radar at all. And to sort of be notified, like, hey, you have been selected, you've won this award. They're sending you a certificate. They're sending you a gold pin. Oh my goodness. They're like, wait, what? How? I didn't even know about this. Who put me up for this? It was profoundly flattering because I'd been working on this book for so long, I really didn't have a good perspective on it anymore. I didn't have a strong sense of, like, have I done something that makes sense? Have I done something that is good? I can't tell. So that external validation actually came at a time when I really, really needed it. And so I've got that framed and up on my wall to remind myself, like, yes, I did a thing and people appreciated it.
Absolutely, yeah. I guess many creators don't go into something hoping for the highest accolades. They just try to do their best work. And if someone acknowledges, like you say, that's a cherry on top, I suppose.
Yeah, it wasn't an ambition of mine I'm going to receive this award and I'm going to tell my mom and she's going to be proud of me. But it was really validating.
I'd like to switch gears a wee bit and ask you about the tools used to create your graphic novel. Can you walk me through how you created it as well?
Absolutely. So in this case, because I was preparing this whole cloth for a publisher, I hadn't approached them with a full pitch. I'd approached them with a log line. So we did have many drafts of script, and it was a very difficult one to write. I found this a really challenging script. But once the script was locked, I go over into Procreate. I do almost all of my work in Procreate on an iPad. And so I went over into there and I thumbnailed a full draft. So that means that I draw the entire book in very sketchy, sort of 1.5 inch tall versions of the pages to figure out where I'm placing things, how things are moving, and what kind of shots I'm using. After that, that goes back to my editor. They look through it, they make notes and edits. And when that's approved, I take the whole book to pencils. And that means now I'm working full size at print resolution, and I'm taking my little thumbnail sketches and fleshing them out into full proper drawings. I'm focusing on getting the anatomy correct, on figuring out exactly what those facial expressions will be, locking in the backgrounds. In an ideal world, penciling is the most intense work period. It's where all the decision-making happens. And by the time I'm done penciling, when I move into inking, I shouldn't have to think at all. That's my goal, is to do all of the brain work in the pencil stage, and then inking is purely craft. So once pencils are approved, I ink everything. And that's when I listen to a lot of podcasts and or watch a lot of TV, because it's handwork. It's not brain work. And after that, I toned it. I had some great help. N.A. Trudell is a good friend of mine and who did a lot of flatting on this book. And I'm very grateful to them. But yeah, once it's colored, it just goes into editorial fixes. We go through drafts and drafts and drafts where we make corrections, little tiny fixes, little tiny redraws, move speech bubbles around. But essentially, my job is more or less complete by the time we reach that point.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Thank you for explaining that. And also, maybe I should highlight, too, the benefit of having an editor. We both know some great editors in Toronto and at different publications. What role do you think, like you said, it came out like a perfect solution, but what would you say the benefits are having an editor, sort of someone over your shoulder, not second guessing, but helping you be better? Can you explain that a bit?
In this case, my editor was pretty hands-off. I think in an ideal situation, having an editor who will help you iterate on things and clarify things is a really good situation, because it's very easy it's good to have someone sort of pull you back a bit when you're being too much and push you further when you're not being enough. I think it can be really helpful to have an outside point of view of somebody whose goal is also, let's make a really good book. Let's make this the best it can be. It can be very, very helpful to have someone just point things out to you that you're too close to see.
Well, we were talking at the outset about Toronto Comic Arts Festival, so I've got to ask if you'll be attending any other future festivals, conventions, or events to promote your book.
So right now, I am taking things pretty slow on the convention scene. Previously, I would have traveled in the States quite a bit, but now that's not really a possibility anymore. Things are quite quiet at home. I don't actually have a lot of events scheduled right now.
Well, we've been talking about Corpse de Ballet, the graphic novel. I'm wondering, can you talk about what's next for you? Is there something else that you're working on that you can sort of hint about?
Oh, yes, I can. I'm very excited about this, actually. So in September, I will have Too Hot to Tango coming out. And while Too Hot to Tango also has dance as a major touchstone, it's a complete genre shift from Corpse de Ballet. It's a summer camp rom-com about a soccer star, Honey, and a dance instructor, Teddy, who fall for each other as they practice the tango over the course of one very hot summer. Sort of a queer Dirty Dancing.
And is that from Abrams Fanfare? Is that correct?
That is correct. And that's with E. Salo, who's a wonderful writer. I'm really working with her has been amazing.
Well, with all the different projects, events that you've got going on today and in the future, where do you recommend that people go online to find about Megan Kearney?
Well, you can always find me on thequietly.com. And I'm also present on Blue Sky at Spooky Maggie.
Great. Well, Megan, those are all the questions I have for you, but I'm wondering, is there something I didn't ask that you'd like to get across in this interview?
I feel so privileged to be able to make this kind of work, even as the world is currently on fire. I've been supported by so many people, and I couldn't be doing this work without the support of my family, without the wonderful network of friends and professionals that I have here in Toronto. And actually, without the support of the Canadian government, who made sure I could keep eating while I made this. So a rising tide lifts all ships. We should all try and hold each other up and make the best things we can.
Thanks to Megan for the chat. You can discover more about Megan Kearney at thequietly.com and on Blue Sky at Spooky Maggie. You can discover more about Corpse de Ballet, a graphic novel, at First Second. And thank you for tuning in to the True North Country Comics podcast. I invite you to visit the True North Country Comics website to listen to even more conversations with creators about making comic books and graphic novels. You can follow along True North Country Comics on most social media platforms, and you're encouraged to send any and all feedback to True North Country Comics at proton.me. Thanks for tuning in, and come back soon for another episode. Bye for now. True North Country Comics podcast is copyright True North Country Comics, copyright 2026.